Everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Renuka, and this is a safe place where we talk about well-being, mental health, and how to level up in life, especially if you're a woman. In my own healing journey, I figured that I was carrying a lot of coping mechanism and faulty traits, patterns, which would have been helpful for me in my childhood, but in my adulthood, all those traits were really pulling me back from reaching my highest potential. And for a longest time, I blamed only one of my parents, and I thought that it was because of that parent that I suffered and all of my patterns were coming from that parent. But it wasn't true until later on I realized that it was both of my parents, that I picked up traits from both of my parents. I picked up faulty patterns, dysfunctional behaviors, triggers from both of my parents. So it's the contribution of both of your parents and your environment and the kind of events that you had in your life and how you had to deal with them. But for the sake of ease, in today's topic, we're going to talk about the 5 common signs that you have mother wound. And mother wound is, as the name suggests, are the wounds that are coming because of your mother, and how it manifests in your adulthood is what we are going to see in this video. So without wasting any more time, let's get into it. The first sign of having mother wound is having unhealthy boundaries. And this could happen because your mother didn't enforce or modeled having healthy boundaries in front of you, or it could be pure neglect by her, or it could also be that your mother didn't allow you to express yourself too much, and more often than not, she put her own needs ahead of your needs. In those circumstances, the children, they grow up having no idea how to create healthy boundaries, and healthy boundaries is the first reason or first way of having healthy relationship. It could be romantic relationship, your career, or your professional relationship. Healthy boundaries is helpful in both of those cases and very crucial actually. I have a full guide, one-to-one creating healthy relationship, which is just for $1. You can get it from the link below. It's very easily accessible, and this would really help you to identify where you are lacking boundaries and how to develop those boundaries in the most healthy way. And it will give you a step-by-step way of how to work on creating healthy boundaries. The number 2 sign that you have mother wound is having low self-esteem, feeling of unworthiness, or feeling of inadequacy. And this again manifests itself in adulthood in a different way. It could be in a way where you are a person who always seek out for validation from outside, who's always looking for approval, who's unable to make decision and always needs somebody to approve the decision, because the person is so unsure of themselves that they just can't find a way of doing what they think is right. Sometimes it could also be to another extreme where the low self-esteem is so much that it leads to jealousy, and these adults would put down other people to feel better about themselves. So either you could be very submissive and you could be very gullible, where you are seeking for validation and you're very easy to control, to be controlled by some other person. Or on the other side of extreme, it could also be that you could turn out to be somebody who has so much of low self-esteem that you feel jealous with everyone around you, and you need to go out and beyond of your way to prove your worthiness by superficial ways, by showing off your things and your assets, showing off your salary to people, showing off your lifestyle, showing off your spouse, your children. And these are the things that you use to show off and feel self-worth through these things. And this kind of behavior becomes very toxic. But again, because these are different extremes of unhealthy behavior, they kind of get attracted to each other and support each other in a relationship. Number 3 is fear of abandonment. And this is massive. This is so common. And this leads to a lot of other dysfunctionalities, like having anxious attachment, sometimes having avoidant attachments, also having people-pleasing kind of a behavior, a lot of other functionality dysfunctionality is because of fear of abandonment. A lot of times, couples with when they come together and one of the partner has fear of abandonment, they kind of test their partners to see if they're going to abandon them or not, if they exhibit a certain kind of behavior or they irritate them or poke them. And they're just doing it to test them. And eventually the partner does leave them, and then the self belief becomes even more strong that they are unworthy of love because everybody keeps leaving them. And this comes from childhood where the mother was unavailable, there was neglect. The mother was not able to provide the emotional support that the child needed at that age. Because children, they are not born by understanding how emotions are, what are they and what emotions are and how to manage them. It is the responsibility of the adults to, help them understand what emotions are and how to manage and process them. But if the adults themselves, they don't know how to do it, they get irritated by it and they try to just either tell the child to move away when they're having big emotions, or they try to scold the child and tell them to just be quiet, don't make a fuss out of nothing. And in those scenarios, the child never learns how to manage their emotions and also, in a way, become independent, thinking that if they have some kind of emotion, they have to manage it themselves. And they feel abandoned when they have to do it. This fear of abandonment is one of the main reasons why couples break up and marriages turn into divorces. Number 4 is actually a mix of all these above point where you find it difficult to form healthy relationship. And this again could be at the two end of spectrum, where one, you are just so giving and you don't know how to create healthy boundaries that people can just take advantage of you, and you keep regretting and feeling worthless because everybody keeps taking advantage of you. On the other hand, you could be that kind of a person who again doesn't know how to create healthy boundaries but is using people to get that validation from others and using people to feel better about themselves. So you could be on both of the spectrums, but either ways you both are unable to create a healthy dynamic where you can meet each other at a center point and support each other in creating a healthy boundaries. And all of this happens because in the childhood you were either neglected by your mother, emotionally neglected, or you had a very, very critical mother who mostly criticizing in what you're doing and was not able to model the right behavior in your childhood. Number 5 are the self-sabotaging behaviors. I have bundled this as one point because it actually is self-sabotaging behaviors are perfectionism, people-pleasing, and those kind of traits and patterns which happens because of mother wound. And a lot of times we think that we are perfectionists, so it's kind of a good quality, but actually it is not. Perfectionism stops us from getting into action. Perfectionism is the reason why a lot of people limit their potential and limit their own capabilities, either because of failure is a self-sabotaging way where you stop yourself from achieving what you can achieve. So, for example, if you're a content creator, you will self-sabotage yourself saying that I cannot create a content because I don't have a camera, or I don't have a mic, or I don't have an environment, or I don't have this or that. Until and unless I have all of this, then only I can create. But the thing with perfectionism is you are sitting as though your mother. So when your mother has been very critical about your work when you were a child, you learn those traits. And again, these traits were survival for you when you were in your childhood. But as you grow up, it is a limiting behavior, which you need to unlearn, and you need to remove that from your basic behavior so you can reach your full potential. So when you unlearn these kind of behaviors, you're able to thrive and achieve things that you can achieve, but because of these traits, you stop yourself from achieving. So for example, when you were a child, your mom would always criticize you the way you draw or the way you write. Eventually, you learn this behavior, and to survive, your head, this voice starts coming in and keeps telling you not to make a mistake, not to do this, not to do that. So it's not your mother's voice, it's your voice, but it's doing the work that your mother was doing. And now you're doing it to yourself. And what happens is you become scared of taking steps. And that is what happens when you say that you're perfectionist. You stop yourself from taking steps because you worry that it's wrong. It's not the right way to do it. And same goes for people pleasing. People pleasing is again a self-sabotaging behavior where the fear of failure is so much that you stop yourself from doing anything out of ordinary, or you simply follow the crowd. Everyone is doing this way, I will also follow the same thing. And that's how you prevent yourself from achieving your highest potential. Good news is all of these traits that you have picked up in your childhood were very helpful for your survival in your childhood. But in your adulthood, these are not very helpful, and these are actually very limiting for your progress. And you can unlearn it with some support. You can write me in my email address below, or you can also drop me a message in the phone number below. And there is support always available. Help is always available. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do share it with your loved ones and whoever you think would be helpful for. And subscribe to my channel for more such content. I'll see you next time in my next video. Until then, bye-bye.